There is a morning habit practiced in Japan for over 1,000 years. It takes less than 5 minutes. It costs almost nothing. And scientists now believe it may be one of the most powerful anti-cancer practices ever studied in humans. Researchers at Kyoto University found that people who practiced this habit daily had significantly lower rates of certain cancers. And the mechanism they discovered involves something most Western doctors rarely talk about: the daily intentional activation of your DNA repair pathway. I am Dr. William, and in this video, I am going to show you exactly what this Japanese morning habit is, what happens inside your cells when you do it, and why the evidence supporting it is stronger than almost anything you will find in a supplement bottle. Please watch to the end, because there is one critical step that most people miss, and without it, the habit does not produce the same results. Let me start with what cancer actually is at the cellular level, because once you understand this, the Japanese habit will make perfect sense. Every single day, the DNA inside your cells gets damaged. This is not unusual. This is normal. It happens from ultraviolet radiation, from oxidative stress, from inflammation, from normal cellular metabolism. Your body actually has systems specifically designed to find this damage and repair it before a cell becomes malignant. The problem is that as we age, and particularly after 50, these DNA repair systems become less efficient. The damage accumulates faster than it gets fixed, and that is when cancer risk rises. The Japanese habit we are talking about activates these DNA repair systems, and it does so through three specific pathways that researchers have now documented in peer-reviewed journals. The habit is called miso shiru, the daily consumption of traditional Japanese miso soup. But not just any miso soup, and not in just any way. There are critical differences between the miso that works and the miso that does not. Let me explain each one. Miso is a fermented paste made primarily from soybeans, salt, and a fermenting agent called koji, a beneficial mold rich in enzymes. This fermentation process, which takes months or years in traditional miso making, creates something remarkable: a dense collection of bioactive compounds that have no parallel in the Western diet. The first pathway is the genistein pathway. Soybeans contain a compound called genistein, an isoflavone that, once inside the body, does something extraordinary. It activates a tumor suppressor gene called P53, which functions like a cellular security system. When P53 is active, it identifies and destroys abnormal cells before they can replicate. Studies published in the journal Cancer Research show that genistein can slow the growth of cancer cells by up to 40% in laboratory conditions, and epidemiological data from Japan suggests this translates to real-world protection.
The second pathway involves the microbiome.
During fermentation, miso becomes rich with beneficial bacteria, lactobacillus, bacillus, and others. When these bacteria enter the gut, they do something specific. They produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, which directly inhibit a class of enzymes called histone deacetylases. This matters because histone deacetylases, when overactive, can silence the genes responsible for apoptosis, the process by which damaged cells destroy themselves before becoming cancerous. Miso effectively keeps the cellular self-destruct mechanism functional. The third pathway is the glutathione pathway. Miso contains significant concentrations of methionine and cysteine 2 amino acids that are direct precursors to glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. Glutathione does not just neutralize free radicals, it actively participates in DNA repair by protecting the enzymes that fix damaged DNA strands. Researchers at Hiroshima University found that Japanese atomic bomb survivors who consumed miso soup daily had dramatically lower rates of radiation-induced cancer than those who did not. And glutathione levels were significantly higher in the miso-consuming group. Now here is the critical part, the step most people miss. Not all miso activates these pathways equally. In fact, most commercial miso paste sold in Western supermarkets has been heat-treated to extend shelf life. This process kills the beneficial bacteria and denatures many of the bioactive compounds. To get the anti-cancer benefits documented in these studies, you need unpasteurized, traditionally fermented miso, the kind that is stored refrigerated and has live cultures. The preparation also matters. You should never boil miso. The water should be hot but below boiling, around 65 to 70 degrees Celsius. Boiling kills the beneficial bacteria and destroys the heat-sensitive enzyme activity. The Japanese tradition of making miso soup is to heat the broth, then stir in the miso at the end, away from heat. This preserves the biological activity. The research on dosage is also specific. The studies that showed the strongest protective effects used 1 to 3 cups of miso soup per day. This aligns with traditional Japanese consumption patterns. In many Japanese households, miso soup is served at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The researchers found that 1 cup per day provided meaningful benefit, but the strongest effects were seen in daily 2 cup consumers. Here is something important to note for anyone on blood pressure medication. Miso does contain sodium. If you are managing hypertension, discuss this with your doctor before making it a daily habit. A lower sodium miso is available and still retains most of its bioactive compounds. Beyond cancer, the research on regular miso consumption is remarkable across multiple systems. A study in the Journal of Nutritional Science found that regular miso consumers had lower rates of gastric cancer, one of Japan's most studied cancer types. Research from Tohoku University showed a 50% reduction in stroke risk in women who consumed 3 or more cups of miso soup daily compared to those who consumed less than one. The cardiovascular benefits appear to come from a combination of the isoflavones, the fermentation-derived peptides, and the gut microbiome modulation. The combination I want you to take from this video is simple. Get unpasteurized miso paste from a Japanese grocery store or a health food store. Store in the refrigerator. Every morning, heat water to just below boiling. Pour it over a small piece of tofu, some dried seaweed called wakame, and green onion. Then stir in 1 tablespoon of miso paste. Do not boil, let it steep for 30 seconds. Drink it. That is the Japanese morning habit, backed by decades of cancer research. It takes 4 minutes, it costs under 30 cents per serving, and the cellular effects on your DNA repair systems, your gut microbiome, your antioxidant capacity begin accumulating from the very first cup. If this video gave you something useful, share it with someone who needs it, and leave a comment below. Have you tried miso soup before? What are your thoughts? I read every comment, and your experience matters to the conversation.